Public Affairs programming on WQPT is brought to you by the Singh Group at Merrill Lynch, serving the wealth management needs of clients in the region for over 25 years.
Saving lives. Are you ready for the storms to come? And why do the people in charge of keeping us safe want more help from us? Plus, the alarms inside our homes, how well do they work? And why there's absolutely no reason for you to go without them in the cities. The long, hard winter is almost over, but the fire dangers in each and every one of our homes has not gone away. In a moment, some surprising information about the smoke detectors in your home. But first, our unpredictable weather. Illinois is marking Severe Weather Awareness Week this week throughout the state. Iowa does the same later this month. The National Weather Service is using new tools to better keep track of dangerous storms, but the Weather Service is also looking for you to help them out. And we welcome National Weather Service Warning Coordination Meteorologist Donna DeBerkey. Donna, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So it's Severe Weather Awareness Week right now. What does that exactly mean? Because everyone thinks we're from the Midwest. We know everything about these storms.
Yeah, but we also know that bad things happen, and when people are not paying attention, that's when they're most vulnerable. So we think that awareness this time of year is really important. You know, you threw those Christmas decorations in your safe space, time to clean it out. Get ready because storms are going to happen. You
know, we just marked the 1-year anniversary of the tornado that hit in the Ottawa area and Naples. A February tornado.
Yeah.
I mean, that really does underline the fact that even in northern Illinois and in eastern Iowa, tornadoes can happen at any time.
They can, and actually those tornadoes marked the first time we'd ever had tornadoes in February in our part of the country, but we had more than 13 that day with fatalities and injuries, more than 13, I think it was $600 million in damage, really tragic. So we absolutely have to be ready every time, and when it's out of season, the risks are even greater.
And then you take it from the other side of the calendar and you take a look around November when it hit near Peoria in Washington, Illinois. And these weren't like run-of-the-mill small tornadoes. No. These caused serious damage in well, I'm going to say metropolitan areas, but in communities.
They absolutely do. And when tornadoes happen or any kind of storm happens in a season that's not typical, they tend to be more intense, they tend to be faster moving, and they tend to create more injuries and fatalities, again, because people aren't ready.
Why is that, though, that they'd be more intense? Is it because the atmosphere is mixed differently than it is during the late spring or early summer?
Yeah, it's just because when we're looking at storms, we're talking about instability. And when you get those out of season, it takes a lot of energy to really get it going because it's not normal to have it in that time of year. We just had a tornado in December and it was an EF2 rated tornado. These tornadoes that are out of season are unusually intense.
Now, we've always seen that when we were growing up, the whole thing about the outside alarm system and the warning systems, and you hear the sirens and you knew it was bad weather. It's been a real controversy over the last 10 years of when these sirens are being used. If it's used just for lightning, and I shouldn't say just for lightning because I know you're going to correct me on that, but for lightning rather than severe storms, rather than tornadoes. Right. Is the National Weather Service really involved in these community alerts, or is this individual communities?
So sirens are owned and operated by local communities, but the majority of communities in and around the Quad Cities have agreed upon a common siren guideline. And that's a good thing because it means most communities sound them for the same thing. The most common usage, and the one that we recommend, is to sound them for tornadoes, whether it's a warning or it's been cited, for hail that's golf ball size or larger, and winds of 70 miles an hour or greater. So not every thunderstorm and not every severe thunderstorm warning, but the higher end ones. The reason we recommend 70 mile an hour is because that's when whole trees start going down, and when whole trees start going down, that's when people are dying in our part of the world. So we recommend them very strongly for storms with extreme winds. But lightning is self-alerting. If a storm has lightning and you can hear thunder or you can see lightning, you should be inside anyway.
Now, the key always has been to have a weather radio. Outside, of course, that may not be as possible, but
Sure.
my gosh, the way technology is right now, people have an entire weather service on their phone, do they not?
They do. You have all kinds of options. If you're on the Iowa side or live near Iowa, you can sign up for Alert Iowa in your local community. You can sign up for all kinds of alerting services and text alerts. There are some that will automatically go to most phones through the Wireless Emergency Alert System, which is a national program. My message on that is always to be intentional. Don't just assume that your phone is magically going to go off. It might, but be intentional. Sign up for an alert system. Know what kind of alerts that you're going to get so that you can take action if you need to.
Well, let's be honest, the price is always right, is it not? It's free. I mean, virtually all of them are.
Most of the apps are free. You can get radar apps on your phone. The access to information is tremendous. So have a plan and be intentional.
So is the weather radio important anymore?
For me, it still is, because I don't have my phone by me. I don't want my phone to wake me up necessarily. So for me, it is because it acts as sort of that smoke detector for severe weather. You know, it can go off and wake you up. So the message would be to have something that can wake you up. For me, that's a weather radio. For a lot of people, it still is a weather radio if you're not paying attention or you don't have access to your cell phone. I'm also a big fan of redundancy, have more than one method. So a weather radio, cell phone, something like that.
Well, the Weather Service now has new instruments, high-tech equipment circling the Earth, in fact, to help us better understand what is going on weather-wise. Explain what's new this spring as opposed to last.
So the newest evolution in technology is a new satellite that's now up. We call it Goes East now because it's covering the eastern 2/3 of the United States. It replaces an older satellite, and what's great about it is the resolution. So computer technology has improved, and now the resolution, we can actually during storms get images once a minute. When you look at that, you can actually see which storms are increasing, which storms are decreasing. You can see what the trend is, and that can help a lot in the warning process.
How so? By being able to warn sooner or being more exact in location?
This is all about timing. So warning sooner, warning faster, because you can tell this storm is collapsing, this storm is increasing, and especially the rate of increase and rate of intensification is very important in the warning process.
Now, as I said at the top of the show, there's a lot of areas where citizens are actually asked to be involved in the National Weather Service programs. One of them is, I'm going to get it wrong, CoCoRaHS.
That's right.
Thank you. Community Collaborative Rain, Hail, and Snow Network. What is that about?
CoCoRaHS started, I believe, in Colorado, but it started as a grassroots effort to get more rainfall. Everybody knows that sometimes the north side of town got 2 inches of rain and the south side only got a ½ inch. When we're trying to forecast, in particular, river flooding, it's important to know how much rain fell and where it fell. If you only have one observation in a county, that's just not enough to capture all of that. So it's a volunteer network. People get a specific rain gauge so that we know that the rainfall measurements are good, and they go to a website and they make their reports of the rainfall and snowfall. So focuses on precipitation, mostly to help with river forecasting and flash flood forecasting.
And the belief that if you have more people involved, the more accurate and pinpoint that it is.
Absolutely. The more precipitation varies so much from location to location. So the more dense that network is, the more accurate the forecasting will end up being.
Now, you also have weather spotters. I mean, you're training constantly, and I know the spring severe weather spotters, you're already doing a number of programs that are coming up. How critical important are those people to what you do day in and day out?
So storm spotters are fundamental to the warning process. The warning forecasters take all of the things they're looking at, the satellite, the radar, the environment, and the reports of what's actually happening. And when we look at it, the forecaster will make a decision, yes, this storm looks like it's going to produce severe weather and issue a warning. But then we average 20 minutes lead time on severe thunderstorm warnings. That means it's 20 minutes from when the forecaster issues the warning till the first severe weather occurs. That's a good thing because it gives you time to prepare, but it means we're sitting there for 20 minutes wondering if what we think is happening on radar is actually going to happen. So spotters provide that real-time ground truth of what's actually going on where they are, and they fill in that gap between the cloud and the ground.
Yeah, which is critically important because
Absolutely.
your eyes often are on the technology.
Yes.
You're looking out the window, but some of these storms are miles away from where you physically are.
Absolutely, and the farther you are from the radar, the higher the beam is above the ground, and that means that the harder it is for us to know what's happening closer to the ground. So the spotters fill in that gap, and they're absolutely critical to the warning process.
Anybody who wants more information, it's so simple. You go to Google NWS Davenport, it gets you to your website, and then you can find out. Is that how else you contact you and register for any of these programs?
Yeah, so if you go to our website, weather.gov/Quad Cities, and you can there's a link there for CocoRa's to join CocoRa's, and that's just you sign up on the web to become a storm spotter. You attend one of our free storm spotter training classes. It takes about 2 hours. We have one coming up in Davenport here at the I think it's April 3rd.
I think it is, yes.
Or any class around the area. We'll be running classes every week until the first week of April.
All right, Donna DeBerke, the Warning Coordination Meteorologist, National Weather Service, Davenport.
That's me.
Thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us
Jim.
again. Well, still ahead, getting distance between you and a fire in your house. It all depends on a simple device. But first, let's get a check of some of the events that are going on in our area as we head into March. Here's Laura Adams, Out and About.
This is Out and About for March 5th through 11th. Hi, I'm Laura Adams. The Missouri Valley Conference Women's Basketball Tournament is coming to the TaxSlayer Center March 8th through 11th with 10 teams from 5 states competing. It's Marsh Madness, the trivia night at the Center for Active Seniors March 10th to support Nahant Marsh. The day-long Environmental Film Fest takes place at the Olin Center on the campus of Augustana College March 10th. And there's Wine with Einstein. Award-winning actor Duffy Hudson performs as Einstein at the German American Heritage Center March 10th. Circa 21 plays host to Etta May March 8th as the popular stand-up comedian presents Box Wine and Gas Station Chicken. The Circa main stage continues its run of the musical Disney's Freaky Friday through the 24th, and the Speakeasy presents big band music with the Manny Lopez Orchestra. Winners of the 2017 John Ladd Prize and numerous other esteemed competition prizes, Tesla Quartet perform March 9th at the Butterworth Center in Moline. Improvisers present an all-new Lost play by Shakespeare at the establishment in Shakespeared. Blending classic iambic pentameter and vernacular vulgarity, the show is hilarious. Come hither on March 9th, it's rated R. While Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella is on the Adler stage March 7th. Plus, the QC Theater Workshop presents Gamesmanship and Shifting Power in Venus in Fur opening March 9th. And Playcrafters Barn Theater present Neil Simon's Proposals beginning the 9th as well. For more information, visit wqpt.org.
Thank you, Laura. Randy Leesman is the bass player for the Candy Makers and is part of other rock, blues, funk, and soul groups, but he was on the River Music Experience stage by himself a little more than a year ago when we caught up with him playing something original. Here's Randy Leesman with Don't Wait Till Tomorrow.
Trying to hold on to something hard to explain. It's like a feeling of wholeness, one that my soul sustains. You can spend your life wandering while we're put on this ground, but don't you go on believing that there's no truth to be found. 'Cause I've been told, stop wasting your time. These are the days I'm living in my prime. Don't wait till tomorrow, I'm living it today. As the sun grows cold, I embrace my grave. Lying around meditating, thinking of nothing at all. But when your dreams start ringing, Wake up to answer the call, 'cause I've been told, stop wasting your time. These are the days I'm living in my prime. Don't wait till tomorrow, I'm living it today. As the sun goes cold, I'll embrace my grave. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till tomorrow.
Randy Leesman with Don't Wait Till Tomorrow. Smoke detectors are given the credit for saving countless lives, but not every detector is the same. Not every family gives it the same attention, and there are studies that show the alarms simply don't wake up kids. Are they worth the expense? Well, in the cities, firefighters have a strong opinion and a deal you cannot refuse. Joining us is Moline Fire Department Fire Inspector Jerry Spiegel. Jerry, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
They're free.
They're free.
Tell me about that. I mean, everybody goes to a store and you see, you know, they're anywhere from, I saw anywhere from $12 up to $60, which is a great deal because it's an insurance plan for inside your house. But even if you can't afford that, you could still get a smoke detector.
Yes, you can get them free from the Moline Fire Department. If you live in Moline, if you live in Rock Island, you can call the Rock Island Fire Department. East Moline's doing it, Davenport's doing it, Bettendorf's doing it. The whole Quad Cities is involved.
What you learn is that when you look at these smoke detectors, there's so many different types. There's the battery operated. There's now, I'm going to get this wrong, I want to say lithium, and that's the ones that have a 10-year, and that's what you really want to recommend. So tell me about that.
This is a 10-year maintenance-free, really, lithium battery detector. The only thing maintenance-wise you have to do is vacuum it out or blow the dust out of it, maybe a couple times a year.
Because let's be honest, what really, I don't want to say angers you, but disappoints you is that so many people unplug them because the batteries, they just get annoying because the batteries chirp.
When the batteries start to wear down, they start chirping, so people just take the battery out.
Let's talk about the effectiveness of these smoke detectors. As I said, I mean, there's studies that show that kids may not wake up because of them, but you still say they're crucial because any alert is good alert?
Any alert is a good alert. We installed detectors in every bedroom, outside the bedroom and the hallways. So any detector you can have in your house is better than nothing. And there are other detectors out there. There's voice alert detectors made for children.
We've got one of those, and it mixes the alarm with a voice command. And like you said, I mean, the studies have shown that perhaps a woman's voice is better than a man's voice because children will respond to that, and that a mother's voice is far better than all of them.
They also make them where the mother can record her own voice instead of having a computerized voice, female voice on there.
And have those shown to be effective?
They have. I've looked at studies where the children do wake up to hearing their mother's own voice. And in tune with the beeps of the smoke detector. So with both of those, they do wake up.
Okay, well now earlier this month, we did actually test 2 smoke detectors with a Quad City family. Dominique Hutchins had a feeling her children would sleep through the alarm. She was even surprised by this test. Take a look. She puts her kids to sleep.
Here, lay down.
Josiah in his bed.
Lay down.
Jalea in her crib. A quick bedtime story.
Good night, moon. Good night, cow jumping over the moon.
And then it's lights out.
Lay down. Are you tired?
We let them sleep and wait. We'll test 2 smoke detectors to see if these kids will awaken. One has a piercing alarm. The other also has a voice command. We hand Dominique that one first. She's standing just 10 feet away from the kids' beds.
Warning. Evacuate.
They don't wake. She tries it again.
Testing.
Then a third time with the second alarm. She walks closer, now mere inches from her still sleeping children. Josiah stirs but never wakes up. Little Jalea remains sleeping, never even blinking an eye. What do you think?
It's kind of scary. Just a little bit, yeah.
Though Dominique predicted her children would sleep through the alarm, she's still amazed by our test.
Definitely is eye-opening.
Her only consolation, she thinks she'd wake up in time to save her children.
I always have like one eye open just because I'm a mom, and you know, so when I am asleep, I'm not asleep, you know.
This doesn't surprise you at all. I mean, a child sleeping through it, but it is kind of an eye-opening thing for parents. So what do you say to those parents?
If your smoke detectors go off, the first place I would try to get to is your children's bedroom.
Yeah.
Make sure they're up.
And the key is, like you were saying, to keep the smoke detectors near a bedroom. There's so many regulations now with smoke detectors as well, and I know that the hardwired detectors are something that you prefer even more. And one of the things you like about the hardwired is that one detector on one floor can alert the other detector, and you almost have a system of them going off, so everyone in the house would hear something.
Correct. When you have the hardwired detectors, like you said, they all go off, and they are to me, they are much louder because you have 5, 6, how many ever detectors you have in your home going off at the same time. So the decibels are going to be much more.
What's the key other than the detector? I mean, is it just as important to have a plan? Because once the detector goes off, you kind of got to know what to do, and you can make a lot of life-threatening mistakes.
You can, because you panic. People panic. The biggest thing you can do for your children is have a fire escape plan. And practice those drills. When as the Moline Fire Department, we go out to the schools and we start talking to the children in kindergarten and talk to them about fire escape plans. And then we tell them to take it home to their parents so the parents can go over it with them. You know, find a safe route out of your home, outside by a tree. Make sure everybody's out of the house. And we also tell them if somebody's in the house, can't get out, or a pet, do not go back in, because we're going to be there in a couple minutes and we will get them out.
Well, Dominique's children are 1 and 3, and she's had other children, and she said, yeah, I've talked to them. 1 to 3 seems to be a little too young, but she'll have this discussion now. What is the right age? I mean, as you said, you're talking to kindergartners. That's up to 5, 6, 7-year-olds.
That's still an early age because their attention span isn't quite as long as a 6 or 8 or a 10-year-old. So that's the reason why we go every year, every grade, kindergarten through 6th grade, and we talk to these kids. And every year we tell them the same thing. You know, we start out at the age appropriate when they're 5 or 6, and then as they get older, we tell them the same thing about fire escape plans. You know, we sound the detector so they know what it sounds like. So
many of these houses, because I think of my house, if there was a fire in my kitchen, it basically blocks the whole front door. Your escape route is very difficult. And I remember being in a smokehouse and the firefighters on the 2nd floor were saying, you know, it's really important to have a rope ladder or some type of escape ladder from a 2nd floor. How critically important is stuff like that? Because those really aren't that expensive either.
They're not. You can find them at your hardware stores.
And if you have an older house, 2 stories.
A lot of homes in Moline are older, 2-story homes. So we do recommend, if you have children in the upper stories, get the rope ladders and have them by the windows. Practice using them. Don't just have them there and never use them. Take the kids and practice with them. Because if you don't and you have to use them, you may not know what you're doing at the time. So
time and again, firefighters have gone back into a house to try to find people that are trapped, and you have found children hiding under beds or hiding in closets, you know, just trying to get away from the fire that way. That is heartbreaking because in so many ways, children just don't know what to do in the case of a fire.
They don't, and for some reason, children tend to hide, and we try to teach them, like I said in the schools, do not hide, scream and holler, you know, get next to a window, because that's where we're gonna, if we can't get into the front door and upstairs, we're gonna come through your windows. If somebody is outside to tell us where your bedroom window is, we're going to go into that window. So don't hide. Get next to a window, off to the side of that window.
Yeah.
If you can't open the window and start screaming outside.
And once again, if you need a smoke detector, they're free for the asking. How do you do the asking?
You can call my number. It's 309-524-2266. If I don't answer, leave a message. I'll call you back.
Jerry Spiegel from the Moline Fire Department. Once again, all the fire departments in the Quad City area offering these smoke detectors for free, along with the American Red Cross, and you were saying the Illinois
Fire Safety Alliance.
Fire Safety Alliance as well. So now's the time to start thinking about that. Actually, yesterday probably was the time. WQPT is doing its part to support the military men and women in the cities who are serving our nation. We call it Embracing the Military. And next Thursday, newcomers are invited to take a tour of the heart of Arsenal Island. A 1-hour Arsenal factory tour is being offered at 1 o'clock Thursday to new employees and families of deployed military members and civilians. It's part of the island's ongoing series of community tours to get newcomers better acquainted with the area. Contact the Rock Island MWR office for details. on the air, on the radio, on the web, and on your mobile device. Thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.
Public Affairs programming on WQPT is brought to you by the Sing Group at Merrill Lynch, serving the wealth management needs of clients in the region for over 25 years.